Would you like to be a millionaire, a billionaire, or even just make more money in your life? In Feng Shui, if you get to catch the best energy of the time, then it is possible for you to use that good energy to help you to produce more. When your performance is good, your boss like you, your clients like you, then it is possible to achieve the outcome you would like to see. And of course, money is only a form of reward that we can see. Then the question is how we can make use of that energy. Now, I'm going to talk about not only the Feng Shui of the house, I will also talk about the Feng Shui of the whole world according to different period of time. So in Feng Shui, we actually divide time into 3 stages and 9 periods. And that's according to how our solar system works, how the planets orbit in the solar system. If you search online, most likely you will see people are talking about 3 cycles and 9 periods. But it doesn't make sense because the 3 stages and 9 periods make up 180 years. And that is one cycle. You can't have another 3 cycles in one cycle, right? So I will prefer to call it 3 stages and 9 periods. And we will first look at the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. The Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system and then followed by Saturn. For Jupiter to orbit the solar system for one round, it takes 11.86 years. And for Saturn to orbit the solar system for one round, it takes 29.46 years. And for Jupiter to meet Saturn, it takes 19.85 years. And that's the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, which we just sum it as 20 years. And every 20 years, we call it one period. And that's how we have 9 periods. And the 9 periods will be divided into 3 stages. So 3 periods for one stage, the second 3 periods for the second stage, and then the last 3 periods for the third stage. When we look at this chart, we can see that the first stage has period 1, 2, and 3. Period 1 starts from 1864 to 1883. And in terms of Bagua, it is Kan Gua, and Kan Gua in the 5 elements belongs to the water element. In the second period, it starts from 1884 to 1903. In the Bagua, it is Kun Gua. In terms of the 5 elements, Kun Gua is the earth element. When it comes to period 3, it starts from 1904 to 1923. It is Zhen Gua and it is wood. And then we enter the second stage, that is period 4 from 1924 to 1943. That is Xun Gua, and the 5 elements is also wood. Period 5 started from 1944 to 1963. And for number 5, it has no Gua in the Bagua. But in terms of the 5 elements, it is earth. And then we come into period 6, that is 1964 to 1983. That is Qian Gua, and it is matter in terms of the 5 elements. And then we come into period 7, that is 1984 to 2003. That is Dui Gua, and the 5 elements is matter. And then we have period 8, started from 2004 to 2023. And that is Gen Gua, and it belongs to earth. And now, this year in 2024, we have just entered period 9. So period 9 will actually start from 2024 to 2043. In terms of the 5 elements, it is the fire. And in terms of the Bagua, it is called Li Gua. So what does period 9 mean to us? What will happen on earth? Will our lives be changed just because there is this conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Now we will first look at the most recent two periods, that is period 7 and then period 8. What happened in period 7? What are the significant changes in people's life? And how people make money, how people become rich, and who has more chance to become a millionaire or a billionaire. In period 7, we will first go through the history of period 7, and then what happened in period 8, what was in trend, and who has the highest chance to become a millionaire or billionaire or even make more money than usual. Then we will go through what will happen in period 9, which is very, very significant to our lives. If you get to catch the trend, if you know what will be in trend, if you know the secrets beforehand, the chances of you making more money than before, than your friends, than other people around you is quite high. Now we will first go through what happened in period 7. So we know that period 7 started in 1984 all the way to 2003. In terms of the Bagua, it is the Dui Gua. In terms of the 5 elements, it is matter. So anything related to matter will be in trend. And matter, of course, also represents the coins that we have. So anything to do with banking industry, to do with insurance, to do with finance industries, to do with leasing, to do with stock market, to do with capital market, anything to do with equity, investment, share, etc. was a boom back in the 70s and 80s. Why I say 70s and 80s? Although it started from 1984, but because it was going to be in trend, that's why even in the 70s, we can see that there are more banks coming out, there are more people started to learn how to invest, the stock market has started to be in trend. And of course, it lasted for almost 20 years, from 1984 all the way to 2003. Those who make a lot of money during period 7 in those 20 years, a lot of them were involved in the related industry. The second industry was in trend back in period 7, was also definitely matter related. If we look back to the history, we know that during those years, back in the 70s and 80s, maybe the 90s as well, the light industry, the heavy industry, the automobile industry, the hardware industry, the electronics industry, semiconductor industry, everything, every industry that was related to matter element was a big boom. Those people who invested in these industries, they make a lot of money as well. And all these industries, they provided thousands and millions of jobs back in those times. So, if you could turn back time, if you could go back to the 1970s and 80s again, after knowing the secrets of Feng Shui, of period 7, of what will be in trend, are you not going to do something? Would you not be able to change your life? Would you be the next millionaire or billionaire? Would you not be able to make more money? Of course you would. And that's not all. We have only talked about the matter element. Now we are going to talk about Dui Gua. Dui Gua in Feng Shui, it is located in the West. So if we look back to the history again, during the 1970s, 80s, and even the 90s, which country was the richest on Earth? That was the USA, and USA on the world map is located in the West. So, when the planets orbit, when the Jupiter and Saturn meet each other, during that time, the best energy, the strongest energy was at the West. That's why it helps the country in the West to boost up the economy so much. And in terms of the US, The west of the US is in California. In the 1980s, the population in California was increasing so much, and almost 60 to 70% of the population of California was immigrants from other places. So again, when we look back, we know that when the best energy is going to be at one place, all the people will be drawn by that good energy and move to that place. And all the job opportunities will also be drawn to the west. And of course, all the rich people would be coming from the west as well. Other than location, in 对卦, when it comes to the family member, 对卦 represents the youngest daughter in the house, whereas in terms of society, the youngest daughter in the society means the young lady in the society. We are looking at the age range from 18 all the way to 35 or 40. So the young ladies back in period 7, they actually have the most energy and had the highest chance of making an influence, making an impact on earth. And when we talk about the body parts, in 对卦, it is the mouth. So back in the 1980s all the way to about year 2000, I would say, about all the way to early 2000, like 1984 to 2003, we can see that there were a lot of young influential ladies using their mouth to influence the people on earth. I would like to give you a few examples. First, do you know who is this? Yep, this is Celine Dion. She first got famous back in 1988. That was exactly during period 7. She was young, a lady, and then she used her mouth to make an impact on earth by singing with her voice. And the second person, who is this? This is Madonna. That's right. She started her career as a singer back in 1982. Although period 7 only started in 1984, but because that is going to be in trend, so it is obviously that she was just part of the influential people back in period 7. And the third person, who is this? That's right, that's Princess Diana. I'm sure you know about the HIV or AIDS disease. And do you know that by sitting next to the HIV patient, you will not be infected by the HIV virus? And how did you know that? It was through Princess Diana. She alone created this awareness with her mouth. And that was totally aligned with what was in trend in period 7. And the next one, who are these young girls? The Spice Girls. They were young and vibrant and making a lot of impact on the young people back in those days. Then we will move on to the next one. Who is she? That's right, that's Britney Spears. She got famous back in around 2000 and she was only 16 years old. Such a young girl. And the last one, who is this? That's right, that's Oprah Winfrey. She very quickly became a millionaire when she was only 23 or 24. Again, by using her mouth. So, from the knowledge of Feng Shui, we can predict according to the 5 elements, according to the Bagua, and of course according to the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, what will be in trend? What industry will be in trend? Which location has the best energy? In what way, in terms of body parts, we can make full use of it to produce more outcome? And of course, who are the people have the higher chances to make more money? So we have talked about period 7 from 1984 all the way to 2003. Next, we will talk about period 8 from 2004 all the way to 2023. And then we will look at period 9, which we have just started in year 2024, and it will last for 20 years all the way to 2043. If you can know it before time, in what industry you have the highest chances to make more money, the location you can get the best energy to help you in your life, in your career, and who are the people just by chance they have the optimum energy to help you, to give you a hand. Maybe you would be the next millionaire, the next billionaire, or even just make more money than before. Will you be a millionaire, a billionaire, or just make more money? We have talked about period 7 that was started from 1984 all the way to 2003. And now we are going to talk about period 8 that started in 2004 and just ended in 2023. The Bagua for period 8 is Gengua, and the 5 elements for Gengua is the earth. Have a second to think, what is the nature of the earth? The nature of the earth is slow and it is very heavy. Imagine that you have to carry a bag of mud that is very heavy. That's why the nature of earth is very slow. Another nature of the earth is it is very stable. So in the last 20 years from 2004 to 2023, we can see a slow yet stable growth in our economies, in all the job opportunities, and of course, a slow development was shown in most of the countries on earth. And that was during period 8. And another nature of the earth is antique. It is old, that people would miss their good old days with their good friends, family, or even have a lot of collections from the good old days. So next, we are going to look at what was in trend during period 8 from 2004 to 2023. Because its element is earth, so anything related to earth element was in trend. For example, real estate, property development, housing development, whether it's residential or commercial, that was such a boom in property development. And during those 20 years of period 8, we can see that a lot of people actually make money or get rich by investing in real estate. Of course, any other job opportunities related to earth, like the real estate agents, they get to make a lot of money at that time too. Earth element is also something to do with construction. It's not only about housing, but a lot of infrastructure construction was carried out, or transportation construction was carried out during those 20 years. And when it comes to earth, anything to do with raw material or farming was a boom too. As we mentioned that one of the natures of the earth is about the good old days. So anything to do with antique collection, earthware, ceramics, and even mining. The mining industry belongs to the earth element too. And the richest person in Australia, Gina Rinehart, who's also the richest woman on earth, her main business is in the mining industry as well. So we can see when Feng Shui changes, the 5 elements change, and how this conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn has a significant impact on our lives on Earth. And during period 8, best energy was no longer in the West. The best energy was shifted all the way from the West to the East. And if we look back into those 20 years in period 8, from 2004 to 2023, the most developed country in those 20 years was China. And China is absolutely located in the east. And in terms of China, the eastest city of China is Shanghai. How many people, especially the young people, were drawn to Shanghai and started their new lives in Shanghai. How many people on earth have started to learn Chinese, Mandarin? And it was during period 8. The Chinese language, which is Mandarin, was recognized by the United Nations as one of the international languages. The buying power of China was a significant increase during period 8. And how much investment China has been investing not only in China itself but also internationally in other countries during those 20 years. The development of China in those 20 years was significant enough that none of us on earth could ignore it. We can see how powerful the changes are when the Feng Shui just changes like that. And even Donald Trump, he was very afraid of China, wasn't he? He tried very hard to condemn China, he tried very hard to increase the taxes, and he tried many ways to stop China from developing. Whether you like it or not, that is just what it is. We are here to talk about Feng Shui, we are here to talk about the energy, and I'm here to tell you the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, and the changes and the impact that it will create on Earth and every single signal we can see. I have no special preference to any countries. I'm just here to tell you the fact. Even if you look at the US, the west of the US is California, and it was a boom during period 7. However, when the time has entered period 8, we can see that California was no longer as prosperous as before, whereas a lot of people have actually migrated into New York. So again, I would like to emphasize that the world has its own Feng Shui. Every single country has its own Feng Shui as well. And if you look at just one city in particular, for example, New York, Manhattan, which is located in the east of New York, was very prosperous during period 7. Whereas when period 8 kicks in, Queens, which is in the east of New York, has attracted a lot of people started to move into Queens. If you think about the city you are living in, and if you have lived your life for the last 40 years, if not, ask your parents or learn the history of the city you live in, you can see a significant change of energy from the west to the east, from period 7 to period 8. I have studied a lot of countries and cities on earth. I can 99% guarantee you there is a shift. And the next country I would like to talk about is Australia. I did a presentation about this couple of times in Melbourne, and they all agree that the trend was shifted. So we just have a look in Australia. From 2013 to 2018, the median house price in Australia. So do you know which is the eastest part of Australia? Even many Australians couldn't answer this question. That is Byron Bay. Byron Bay is known for its natural beauty of the beaches and all the cliffs, and it became a very famous tourist spot in the past decades. So we are going to look at the median house price of Byron Bay. From 2013 to 2018, the median house price of Byron Bay has increased up to 64%. That is all the way hitting $987,500. And this median house price has hit the #1 highest median house price in Australia, which is even higher than Sydney and Melbourne. In the past, the highest median house price of Australia was always Sydney and then followed by Melbourne. And just in those 5 years during period 8, because the best energy was in the east and such a small place that is called Byron Bay, and if you don't know Australia, probably you don't know anything about Byron Bay at all. And such a small place with such a small population, the median house price of Byron Bay could actually hit #1, higher than Sydney and Melbourne. And during those 5 years, if we look at the median house price of Sydney, it was increased by 44% and hitting at 950,000, which stayed at the second highest medium house price in Australia, and then followed by the third highest medium house price of Australia was Melbourne. And in those 5 years, price has increased up to 44% as well, which stay at 772,000. And of course now in 2024, because we have entered period 9, the medium house price of Byron Bay has also decreased a lot because the best energy is no longer there in the east. Alright, now we will talk about the family members. In Geng Gua, the family members that represent Geng Gua is the youngest son in the house. And in terms of the society, we are looking at young male, probably between 21 all the way to 40. And in terms of the body part, Geng Gua is our hands. So now we will look at who were the young male on earth that have made a significant impact in period 8 from 2004 all the way to 2023. Have a first look. Who is this? This is Bill Gates when he was young. He actually started his business back in period 7. As I said, whatever is going to be in trend in the next period will also be in trend now. So, although this young male is going to be in trend in period 8, but because he started his business in period 7, so he got to borrow that energy of the universe and make an impact started all the way back in period 7 as well. He was only 26 when he became a millionaire back in 1981, and 5 years later he became a billionaire. The next person we are going to look at is Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook. He was the youngest, richest man on earth. He was only 22 when he became a millionaire in 2006 and became a billionaire 2 years later. The third young male we are going to look at is the richest person on earth, Elon Musk. He very quickly became a millionaire at the age of 27 back in 1999, and 3 years later, billionaire. And the next person we are going to look at, who is this young male that has made an impact on our lives? That is Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon and ebooks. He was already a millionaire back in 1997 at the age of 33, and 2 years later, a billionaire. And let's see if you know the next young male. This is Larry Page, the founder of Google. He became a millionaire back in 1999 and he was only 25. And 5 years later, a billionaire. And the last person we are going to look at, I'm sure all of you know him, that's Steve Jobs, who invented iPhone. Of course, Steve Jobs started his career all the way back in period 6. But when he came back again with the new iPhone, that was in period 8. If you look at the businesses of all these young males that they do, which made an impact and made a change in our lives, all their businesses, all their products are related to hands. Like iPhone, you use your hands to play with it. Like Google, you have to use your hand to search. Facebook, eBay, Amazon, Microsoft, everything that was invented during period 8 and make a significant influence on our life are related to our hands. Before I finish talking about period 8, I would like to share a real story with you. That's about my Feng Shui master. It was during the transition of period 7 to period 8. And he knew that the real estate and property was going to be a boom. So what happened was, that was even before period 8, he started to invest a lot in real estate back in his late 20s or early 30s. And what he told me was, because knowing what will be in trend, because of having the knowledge of Feng Shui, because of knowing one step ahead before anyone else, every single property he bought made him a lot of money. What he did was, He just bought one and resell it, bought the next one and resell it. He was just flipping all the real estates and properties. And very quickly, he made his first billion in life. If you get the right information, if you get the right prediction, that is how it changes your life. That's how it changes his life. Who will be the millionaire or even billionaire in 2024 all the way to 2043? Will you be the next one? I have very briefly talked about period 7 and period 8 in Feng Shui. What are the significant changes? What are the impact? And what does that mean when the Jupiter and the Saturn meet? And now here we are in 2024, where the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn has just taken place this year. And this year is a very significant year because this is the beginning of period 9. If we can know one step ahead than any other people that what will happen in this period of 20 years, you might be the leader instead of a follower. So first, again, we will look at the Bagua in period 9, which is starting in 2024, and it will continue for the next 20 years all the way to 2043. In period 9, the Bagua is Li Gua. In terms of the 5 elements, it is the fire. So when we talk about fire, Li Gua, the body parts we are looking at are the eyes and our heart. What other things or what are the industries will be in trend that will be related to the eyes or the heart? We will first talk about the eyes. What will catch the eyes? Have a second to think. What will catch your eyes? It must be something gorgeous, something beautiful, something attractive, isn't it? It might be an advertisement about houses, cars, watches, clothing, bags, shoes, even people, or the beauty of nature and our surrounding. Whatever will catch our eyes is always something beautiful, isn't it? And so period 9, the period of fire, is absolutely something to do with aesthetic. I would like to give you an example. If you are going to buy a house in 20 or 30 years before, or even 10 years before, when you buy a house, the house you get is just an empty space. You have to do your own renovation, you have to do your own design, you have to bring in your own furnitures, you have to paint the walls, you have to put your own lightings, fans or air conditioner, everything you have to do it yourself. If you buy a house, what you will get is only a space, an empty space. However, in the last few years, we can see that the developers, they have started to beautify the house. Instead of giving you an empty space, they have started to put in a lot of effort to design the house, to make it cozy, to make it comfortable, to get the wall painted nicely, get the kitchen designed beautifully, get the stove, get the lights or even the water tap ready for you to move in. And all you have to do is just bring your luggage and that's your home. You don't even have to think what colors you would like to paint on your wall, what sort of designs you would like to have in your kitchen or bathroom, because most of these things are already done for you. The space has already designed and beautified. We can hardly see any developers are selling houses or departments that is empty inside like those days. The chances of them to selling the house is almost zero if they do it that way now. So we can see when the time changes, how our lifestyle has actually changed, how it impacts our lives. Not just one person or a company or an industry, but almost every single person on earth is affected by the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Another example, if you are renting your house or an apartment in those days, even just 10 years before, you could actually rent a house as an empty space and many people would queue up for the space. But now, if you try to rent an empty space without any furniture, the chances of you getting a tenant is super low. Just look through the websites or in the market. Most space that are ready to be rented out, either they are fully furnished or partly furnished. And it just happened in the most recent years. Although period 9 has just started this year in 2024 officially, however, if you are sensitive enough, you can actually feel that, or if you look back, you can actually see the sign of period 9 has already started since 2017, as the energy of period 9 has already silently kicking in since then. Have you noticed that in recent years, everything has just become so fast and quick? Because when fire comes, it comes very quickly, like a bushfire. When the fire comes very quickly, and when it comes, almost no one can stop the fire or slow down the fire. So that's the trend. That's the nature of fire. And of course, in period 8, I have talked about the property market and the real estate market was really a boom. When time enters period 9, if the property developments, they are not able to catch up with the trend of period 9, for example, beautifying their design, beautifying the houses, beautifying the buildings, the chances of these developers would just end in period 8. Most likely is they are not able to continue their business all the way to period 9. It doesn't mean that when we enter period 9, all property developers will have to shut down their business. Of course, no. It means that whatever was in trend in period 8 will no longer be at peak in period 9. It just means that the business will kind of slow down. However, if they can catch up with period 9, the chances of their business to survive is very high. And of course, when we talk about period 9, that is something related to fire, that's also an energy. Any renewable energy, for example solar system, will definitely be in trend in period 9. Just have a thought. If you are buying a house at the same price, almost the same location, almost the same design, beautifully designed, whereas one developer provides you with solar system and the other one doesn't, which option will you go? Most likely is the one with solar system, right? So that is just what is in trend. The next one we will talk about is also about aesthetic, but in terms of the house, we are talking about humans. Have you been to the gym before? Have you done any workout or fitness exercises? Have you tried yoga before? How many yoga classes have you attended? Everyone is trying to beautify themselves, externally of course. So the fitness industry, the yoga industry was never as hot as now in period 9. When I first started learn yoga with my parents back in 1998, I was a small little young kid. At that time, literally no one person in my social network, not my friends at all, and not any of my relatives know about what yoga is. It's not just me as a little young kid. Even my parents, none of their friends, none of their siblings, none of their colleagues or people they know about or heard about what yoga is. The changes they could see is my father had become physically more healthy and fit, and they asked him what had he been doing so far, and he said, "Oh, I practice yoga." And the first response from everyone was, "What is yoga?" Whereas now, you can never meet anyone who doesn't know yoga, and almost everyone in my social network has attended one yoga section or one fitness section before. Or they might even be a regular to the fitness center or to the yoga class. So whether it's consciously or unconsciously, we can see that when period 9 kicks in, everyone has started to focus more on their eyes, what they can see, and how they can make themselves more attractive, more beautiful. When we talk about beauty, the next industry you would probably think of is the aesthetic Botox. It has become more and more popular for people to do Botox, isn't it? In those days, if you go to a cosmetic center, you might have to take 1 or 2 hours to stay there, get your face washed and apply masks and blah blah blah. Whereas now, because period 9 has kicked in, remember, fire comes very quickly. Everything has become so fast. Even getting yourself to be beautified is getting so easy. It might only take you 10 to 15 minutes to get a Botox injection and you are done. It is absolutely something will be in trend and will become more and more popular. The next one, when we talk about fire, it is also related to happiness, related to passion, related to entertainment. So the next industry will be in trend, or maybe already in trend, is the entertainment industry. It's a lot about social media and how people get entertained by just watching all the videos and stand-up talks or jokes, etc. And of course the virtual games are part of it. Everyone is getting more entertainment and just with their eyes looking at something, they feel happy, they feel entertained. One thing about fire is, in the 5 elements, the fire is the only element that we can see, we can feel it, but we cannot touch it. So anything is artificially related, like the virtual games. We can see it, we can feel it, we can play it, we feel happy, we feel entertained when we play it, but it's never something that we can touch. So artificial intelligence, technology are absolutely fields that will be in trend, or should I say already in trend in period 9. Mind me to say that COVID-19 was necessary. COVID-19 happened in the end of 2019 and just ended recently back in 2023. It was during these few years that we were forced to stay at home. Everyone on earth was forced to learn technology. Even our elders, the seniors, our parents, or even grandparents, they were forced to pick up technologies, to learn how to use smartphone, to learn how to communicate virtually with their families. And we started to learn how to have meetings online, which is called the new norm. So COVID-19 was necessary to force us to stay at home, to learn all the artificial intelligence, technology, and then when 2024 officially kicks in, then this is the period of technology, this is the period of virtual games, this is the period of virtual connection. Whether you like it or not, this is what it is. And so we have talked a lot about the eyes. And what happened to our heart? The eyes and the heart are connected. How? The more the eyes are attracted to something external, the more the eyes are attracted to beauty, artificial beauty, especially what happened to the heart. The more the eyes are attracted outside, the more the heart feels empty inside. The more the heart feels hollow inside. When our eyes are attracted by anything external, our heart wants it. So period 9 is a period of entertainment, of happiness, of artificial beauty, of virtual connection, and all these will lead to emptiness inside. And so, in this period 9, there are more and more people who will start to seek from inside out. There are more people who will seek for spiritual support. There are more people start to learn meditation, psychology, seeing a counselor, or going to the psychiatrist is becoming more and more common and more acceptable because people are empty inside, because there's no connection, and people have the need to feel real connection instead of just virtual connection. Yes, it is very convenient, but it is always good to have a physical connection, like a face-to-face conversation, or seeing someone, seeing your family, seeing your friend face-to-face, or having a face-to-face meeting instead of doing everything online. And of course, astrology will be in trend too, because people are lost. People are lost in this virtual world. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they want. The nature of the fire is beauty, is happiness, whereas the negative side of the fire is about fire. It's about war. It's about conflict. It's about fighting. In February 2022, just 2 years before we officially enter period 9, the period of fire, Russia has aggressively invaded Ukraine in a war. And just recently, we have heard news about Iran and Israel. And of course, in between these few years, there are a lot more small and big wars happening all around the world. It's probably something we don't like to see, we don't like to hear, but sadly, this is just some sickness of period 9, the period of fire. Of course, it's not only conflicts between countries to countries, but also people to people. Have you ever noticed that the people around you, or maybe you yourself, are getting a little bit more short-tempered, getting irritated more quickly and easily? Maybe it is time to practice meditation. Don't take period 9 as an excuse. If we can't even empower ourselves, how can we make a change in our lives? And because of this is absolutely a period where people are seeking for hope, looking for peace, thirsty for real connection. And again, it is time to look inward and practice staying in peace with yourself and with people around us. Alright, now we will move on to the next one. We talk about the best energy in period 7 was in the West, and the best energy in period 8 was in the East. What about period 9 now? Where has this best energy gone? That is in the South. Which country is located in the South? We are looking at Australia, but not so much of New Zealand. Of course, New Zealand is also in the South, but New Zealand is pretty much like an island, and because it is so small, it's very hard to gather the best energy and keep it there. So Australia is somewhat slightly bigger, or maybe you can say a lot bigger than New Zealand, and so somewhat it is possible for the best energy to be kept there. And of course, the south of the south is Melbourne. When I did this presentation a couple of times in Melbourne, people actually asked me, what about Tasmania? As Tasmania is only an island, relatively it is very small, and it is not possible for Tasmania to get rich or be as prosperous as Melbourne. Melbourne is a city, but because Melbourne is part of the big island of the entire Australia, so it is more likely that Melbourne can retain the best energy instead of Tasmania. And if you look at the statistics, you will notice that there have been so many people trying to come into Australia, especially there are so many people have moved into Melbourne, and accommodation in Melbourne has become so difficult, has become so competitive. People just couldn't find a space, couldn't rent a house at all. I know so many people who migrated overseas. They have money in their pocket, but they are not able to rent a place for themselves and their families. And even the Immigration Department of Australia has applied very strict rules to the international visitors. In those days, it's very easy to come in to visit Australia, to have a holiday in Australia, whereas now it's just getting so difficult to get a visa granted. So if you know Melbourne well, back in period 7, when the best energy was in the west, Geelong, which is located in the west of Melbourne, was very prosperous once in the 70s and 80s. When period 8 kicked in, most of the people started to move to East Melbourne, which the best energy in period 8 was in the east. And then during COVID time, a lot of people started to move from the east to the south of Melbourne, which is Mornington. So we can see how the energy changes in Melbourne. We can also talk about New York. Manhattan was so prosperous once back in period 7, and in the last 20 years, we can see so many people have moved in to New York and started their life in Queens. And now we can see that Brooklyn is getting more and more attractive. More and more people are starting their business there, including my friends in New York City. The next example I would like to give you is Singapore. The former president of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, he actually developed Singapore according to Feng Shui theory. Back in period 6 in the 60s, he started to develop the west side of Singapore with heavy industries. With heavy industries, light industries, which would be in trend in period 7. So he actually did it in period 6 while waiting for period 7 to kick in. That's one step ahead before anyone else. And when period 7 kicked in, he started to develop the east side of Singapore with infrastructure, with real estate, with housing and apartments, etc., which would be in trend in period 8. While during period 8, he even reclaimed land from the sea to develop the south of Singapore, to make it a casino, a place for entertainment, a place for happiness, to welcome period 9. Such a small country like Singapore can actually develop so quickly in a very short time to be one of the first-class countries on earth. There must be some secret behind, believe it or not. So in terms of the family members in period 9, Li Gua is the second daughter in the family. So the second daughter in the family, in terms of the society, we are looking at middle-aged female. According to the WHO, middle age is probably ranging from age 40 all the way to 75. Clinically, you can't call yourself old before you reach 75. So let's look at who are the influential middle-aged women on earth. I'm quite sure most of you know who she is. That's Kamala Harris. She's currently the Vice President of the United States and she's running for the President for the USA. So Kamala Harris is the first female Vice President of the United States, and if she successfully became the President of the United States, she would be the first female President of the United States. She's currently 57 years old, absolutely within the age range of a middle-aged female. The second person we will look at is Draupadi Murmu. She's the 15th President of India, and for India, such a conservative country, such a conservative culture, to be elected as a President of the India, it's a big thing. We can see a lot of women step up in the West, in the US, in Europe or Australia, but for a woman to step up in Asia, especially a conservative place like India, it's not a small thing. She's currently 64, yep. And we will look at the third most influential female. This is Taylor Swift. So we have someone from the media and entertainment field. Although Taylor is only 34 this year, but looking at 34 is pretty much a middle-aged woman, isn't it? And we will look at the next person. Who is this? This is BK Shivani, one of the most influential female spiritual leaders on earth. A lot of her YouTube videos and talks has more than millions and millions of views. And she's invited to many countries to give her talk. She's absolutely one of the well sought after spiritual leaders on earth. And then the next one, who is this? This is Sister Jayanti. She's one of the additional administrative heads of the Brahma Kumaris. And the Brahma Kumaris is the world's largest spiritual organization that is led by women. Of course, BK Shivani comes from the same spiritual organization as well, which is the Brahma Kumaris. And we have the next representative from the business industry, Francois Maya, one of the richest women on earth. And her business field is about cosmetic, beauty, and what her company is. That's it. That's L'Oreal. Of course, there are a lot more examples. Currently, I have only picked 6 examples. So after watching this presentation, maybe we would like to think, can success be calculated? Can it be predicted? And then we come back to the question, is Feng Shui superstitious or scientific? If you haven't done the survey, I would really appreciate if you could answer a couple of questions and let me know what you think. Number 1, is the information helpful? Is it beneficial? Number 2, do you agree that Feng Shui can improve the quality of your life? Number 3, do you think Feng Shui can help you to achieve your life goal? Number 4, do you agree that everyone in one aspect or another is somewhat under the influence of Feng Shui? And number 5, do you think the knowledge of Feng Shui is applicable in your daily life? If the answer is yes, just type a Y. If you think the answer is no, just type an N or no. Congratulations in your completion of learning Feng Shui in 3 hours. I'm very sure you have hundreds of questions about Feng Shui after watching the videos. Again, learn Feng Shui in 3 hours can only give you a very brief idea of what Feng Shui is. If you have any questions about Feng Shui, you are welcome to leave comments down below. If you have any questions about your bedroom, kitchen and the front door, you can actually take photos and send it to hello@tspace.com. I'll make series of videos about Feng Shui Q&A to answer all your questions. Again, by sending us the pictures, you are giving T-Space the permission to use them in either online or in classroom. If you would like to make the power of Feng Shui work for you, sign up for T-Space Way. When you sign up, I will never ask you for any personal information. I won't ask you for your credit card information. I won't send you any spam. I will only give you 3 free trials. So sign up now to make the power of Feng Shui work for you. Subscribe now to receive more videos about Feng Shui. This is Ian Ho. I'll see you in the next video.